Gil will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, you can lower your hand. If there's a square microphone up there that's silver, if you could put that somewhere on your lapel, it's for the court reporter to hear. All right, if you'll state your name for the record, please.
It is Jesse Arias Jr.
And could you spell your last name, please?
Arias.
All right, state you may proceed. And this is, I'm sorry, for the record, this is a hearing outside the presence of the jury to determine the admissibility of a statement that's alleged to have been made by the defendant. All right, you, no, you may proceed.
Yes. I went and obtained my peace officer license at San Antonio College in the year of 2010. There, I went to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, where I've been employed for about 16 years. My current role as of right now is sergeant in the Criminal Investigations Division, where I'm assigned to the Violent Crimes Unit.
Yeah, and how long have you been with the Bexar County Sheriff?
16 years.
And were you employed with Bexar County Sheriff's Office on February 23rd, 2023?
I was.
And on that day, did you conduct an interview with a suspect by the name of Marco Moreno Vasquez?
I did.
Prior to obtaining a statement from suspect Marco Moreno Vasquez, did you read him his rights in accordance with 3822 of the Texas Penal Code?
I did.
And did he acknowledge you understood his rights?
Yes.
And did he agree to speak with you about the offense?
Yes.
Now, when you conducted this interview, were you equipped with body worn camera?
I was not wearing one, but the room was equipped with Axon cameras.
And was a recording generated of the interview that was conducted?
It was.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what has been marked as State Exhibit 217A. Can you tell me if you recognize it?
Yes.
And how do you recognize it?
My initials.
Okay, have you watched State Exhibit 217A?
Yes.
And when did you watch it last?
I watched it today.
Okay. And when you watched it, did you affix your initials on it?
I did.
When you watched it, did it appear to be a fair and accurate representation of the interview that was conducted with the defendant?
Yes.
Okay, and except to comply with the legal rules, has it been altered in any way?
No.
And so at this time, the state would offer Exhibit 217A and to bring defense for inspection.
Thank you. May I take the detective on voir dire, Judge?
Yes.
So Detective Arias, what time today did you watch this video, States Exhibit 217A?
So this exhibit, I watched it today in the morning. I can't tell you exact time, but it was this morning.
Approximately?
9:30.
Okay. And it accurately depicted what you saw in the event that occurred when you interviewed my client, Marco Moreno Vasquez, back 2.5 years ago?
Yes.
No objection.
Permission to publish.
The video?
Or do you want to see the rights read?
Yes.
Okay, yes, permission to publish 217A.
Bless
Thank you. And 217A, for purpose of the record, were the rights read in English or Spanish?
And in Spanish, and I do have a copy of the certified translation for.
All right, if I could see the certified transcript, which is States Exhibit 217.
You guys make me a copy, right?
Is that a good judge?
States Exhibit number 217 is admitted for purposes of this hearing.
Yes.
And States Exhibit number 217A is is admitted for purposes of this hearing. Yes. Thank you. All right. Thank you. All right, you may proceed.
Recording, right? You ready? Yeah. One does. From my partner, we Spanish. Habla español. ¿Cómo se llama? ¿Vale? Marco K. ¿Hablas inglés? Nada. No. Ok. What's your date of birth? I don't get. What? Wait. I don't know if no, no, no. Oh, enero del 27, sí. Oh, ok, soy cero. 8, 9. ¿Cómo? Yeah, your address? Where do you live? 74? Yeah. Phone number? Okay. Y nada más dime si entiendes. Unas palabras. Nada más dime si las entiendes. Yo puede tener sí, problemas quizás por necesidad. Pero tienes el derecho de permanecer en el teléfono. Here's after you see the map, now wash your hands on your dog. No, sorry. Cualquier cosa que digas puede ser usada en contra tuya en la corte. Tienes el derecho de hablar con el abogado y que esté presente cuando sea derogado. Si no tienen la disponibilidad económica para encontrar a un abogado, uno será asignado para que te represente antes de algún cargar. También puedes dejar a un lado tu derecho de permanecer en silencio, tu derecho de solicitar un abogado y poder contestar cualquier pregunta o hacer cualquier comentario que deseas. Y si quieres contestar las preguntas, puedes parar y en el momento que deseas y reclamar tu derecho de solicitar un abogado, ¿entiendes? ¿Entiendes lo que te he dicho? Que son todos esos nuestros derechos. Ahora, ¿quieres hablar con nosotros? ¿Ven? ¿De qué? Ok, ¿podemos hablar? Pues sí. Ok, a ver. Wait, so, what kind of?
Judge, did you want us to continue, like,
Yes.
What kind of car do you drive?
¿Qué harías? ¿Qué harías?
Oh, I'm sorry, just one moment, please. What page are we on with regards to the transcript?
So it starts on page 5 and it ends on page 7.
All right. Well, you can stop there because I believe the only issue, counsel, you're stating about the reading of his rights. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge, from the video, it's hard to tell what my client responded to some of those questions, what his answers were. You look at the transcript, they have hum or hum. That's not answering the question. So my client never knowingly, voluntarily, or intelligently answered those questions. So it cannot be said that he understood and agreed to understanding his rights when they were read to him. Even though they were in Spanish, there was no answer from my client that declared that he understood. And because there was not, I think under 38, 3238, 3283, I can't remember, the state does not meet its burden, the police force did not meet their burden of reading him his Miranda rights, showing that he clearly understood and acquiesced to answer questions.
All right, and state your response. I do see in this transcript where questions are asked of him and he responds, mm-hmm.
Yes.
So your response.
So my response is that read it. On several portions regarding page 5, regarding the right to remain silent, the defendant does respond yes. And is not a denial, and the court can review the defendant's demeanor, but ultimately he does state to each right, and then when the detective in some, after all of the rights are read, asked, can we talk, the defendant says, well, yes. And so he was in knowing his rights, and he did voluntarily waive them and agreed to speak with the defendant.
See, Judge, that's my point. How can he knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily waive his rights if he doesn't understand them? And it's not clear from even the transcription, especially from the video, what his answer is. And so at the end where the state's arguing, he agreed to talk. Well, that's not the point. He has to agree to talk after he's read his rights and it's clear that he understands them knowingly, intelligently, and voluntarily. And here we don't have that.
All right, could you play for the court the part of the video again where the rights are being read? And the court is asking that that video be played so that I can view
Or here.
or hear. And I'm using the answers as transcribed by the interpreter who transcribed State's Exhibit 217. And the court is reviewing the video as well with regards to pages 5 through 6.
What's your date of birth? No. What one? Pero te tengo que leer esto. A ver, okay. Y nada más dime si entiendes. Una palabra. Nada más dime si las entiendes. Yo puedo tener. Sí, problemas. Esa pronunciación. Pero tienes el derecho de.
Gracias.
No, sorry. Cualquier cosa que digas puede y será usada en contra tuya en la corte. ¿Entiendes? Sí. Tienes el derecho de hablar con el abogado y que esté presente cuando seas interrogado. ¿Entiendes? Si no tienes.
Judge, and I'm just gonna rewind that, because if the court, I know they're trying to go along, but you can see that in this exhibit, he is nodding his head along, while the detective is informing him of his right.
All right, and for that, what is the timestamp?
Cualquier cosa que digas puede y será usada en contra tuya en la corte. ¿Entiendes? Sí. Tienes el derecho de hablar con el abogado y que esté presente contigo cuando seas interrogado. ¿Entiendes?
That was 246,
no tienes la disponibilidad económica para encontrar a un abogado, uno será asignado para que te represente antes de algún candidato. También puedes dejar a un lado tu derecho de permanecer en silencio y tu derecho de solicitar un abogado y poder proceder a contestar cualquier pregunta o hacer cualquier comentario que desees.
Judge, if we can stop it right there.
Yes.
So there's two parts. If you look at the transcript, the part where
And I'm sorry, for the purposes of the record, where are you stopping the video? What's the timestamp?
3 minutes and 23 seconds.
All right, defense, you may proceed.
okay, so before that, where is it Detective Arias?
At the time, I was a detective, a sergeant now, but Jesse, I mean,
All right,
anything.
where Sergeant Arias, back then detective, is reading him, he reads him the rights and says you have the right to speak with an attorney and have him or her present with you when you're questioned. Do you understand? There's not a response to that. Then he reads the second part. If you do not have the financial availability to find an attorney, one will be blank will be assigned to you to represent you before any interrogation. And then we go and there's an answer. So there's no answer to the question about you have the right to speak with an attorney and have him or her present with you when you are questioned. You understand. In the transcription, there is no response. In the video, I don't believe there's a response either. And so that's one of my points, that the state, through the arm of the police force, failed to read him each and every question and have him respond to each and every question with a yes or no to show that it was knowingly, voluntarily, and intelligently waived.
All right, state response.
Judge, so, like I said earlier, the detective audience at the time does read the rights. The defendant is following along on the piece of paper that we see. At one point, the defendant even clarifies the word interrogation. Okay, so that shows that he has knowledge of what is being read to him, that he understands. And ultimately, at the end, he acquiesces. He says, the detective asked him, yes, can we talk? And he says, yes. At no point in this interview does he ever unequivocally invoke his right to remain silent. At no point does he say that he doesn't want to talk. He provides voluntary statements through the duration of his interview.
Judge, that's not the burden. Burden's on them, not on my client.
Okay, all right. In reading, are there any other arguments?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, as we need to continue and finish this, but where he says, clearly he says yes to certain questions, and then is not yes or no, Judge. So I'd argue, in addition to him not answering one of the questions in the Miranda rights, the state has failed to meet their burden.
All right, with regards to the defendant being Mirandized, the court is going to deny the defense's motion to suppress. Any other arguments with regards to, I know you said, counsel, that your issue was whether or not his rights were read and he understood his rights. Is there any other argument outside of that? Because the court has made its ruling on that first argument you have.
Right. No, Judge, I mean, it all encompasses. One, he never answered one of his understanding one of the rights, which kills the whole thing. And then secondly, the in addition to that, shows that he never responded with a yes or no. And the state wants to go along with him nodding and stuff, and then saying that he will talk, but the burden is on them to prove that he understood all of this. And I think it's clear from the video and the transcription, he did not.
All right, thank you. The court has made its ruling. All right, so the record is clear. One, the court is finding that the defendant voluntarily and knowingly
intelligently.
Yes, thank you. Knowingly and intelligently uh, understood his rights, waived his rights, and gave a statement. The court is finding that the transcription of the defendant's interview that was in States Exhibit 217A, that was a video interview. The court is finding that the transcription, which is States Exhibit 217, was given to the defense timely, and the court is finding that based upon States Exhibit number 27, I'm sorry, States Exhibit 217, on the face of the document, it has been transcribed by Master Licensed Spanish Interpreter Cesar Chavez, license number 2203. Is there anything else before we bring the jurors in? Right, let's bring the jurors in.
Judge, I'd just like to note a running objection to all of the disclosure to the jury regarding either the video or the transcription of my client's statements based on my motion to suppress.
All right, so counsel, my understanding is that you all have provided the court with a redacted version, which is States Exhibit 217. Counsel, of course, you're not waiving your objections to the voluntariness of your client's statement or the fact that he knowingly waived his rights. But with regards to 217, are you in agreement that the redactions are the appropriate redactions, or is there something else that you're saying should be redacted?
No, Judge, the prosecutor and I talked about this beforehand. She told me what she redacted. I have no reason not to trust her. I trust her.
Okay.
And so, subject to my objections that are noted, no problems with
All
that.
right, thank you.
Just logistically, I did make copies for the jurors, but I don't know if the court would just prefer them to follow along on the video and then take the transcript back with them when they deliberate, or.
It would probably be best if they follow along on the screen because
Yeah.
¿Y cuándo van a agarrar el testimonio que va a haber? Después. Parte. Pero sí van a.
All right, everyone, please be seated. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have another interpreter who switched out. She's previously been placed under oath. She's still under oath. And state, call your witness.
The state calls Sergeant Arias.
All right, could you raise your right hand for me, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do, Judge.
All right, you can lower your hand. Make sure you keep your voice up so that everyone can hear.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, state, you may proceed.
As of now, I am employed with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. I'm a sergeant in the Criminal Investigations Division assigned to the Violent Crimes Unit.
And duties as a sergeant with the violent crimes unit at the sheriff's office.
So my duties are to supervise the investigators assigned on that day, specifically the Violent Crimes Unit. At any given day, though, I do supervise any other unit if their supervisor is not there.
Are you certified peace officer?
I am.
And how long have you been with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office?
I have been employed with the Sheriff's Office for 16 years.
Can you explain to the jury the training you underwent to become a member of the Sheriff's Office?
So I started with the San Antonio College Law Enforcement Academy, where I obtained my peace officer license. Then after, I went ahead and transferred to the Bexar County Sheriff's Office, where we went ahead and went through an academy there. And it was several hours long.
Now, in your career with the Sheriff's Office, have your whole time been spent in the violent crimes unit, or have you done time in other?
I have done time in other units.
Can you kind of walk the jury through your previous assignment?
Assigned as an investigator, I went ahead, I was assigned to the Violent Crimes Unit, where I then transferred to the Homicide Unit. I spent about three and a half years in the Homicide Unit, then I promoted to Sergeant.
Now, on February 23rd of 2023, were you employed with the Sheriff's Office?
I was
And what was your rank on that day?
investigator,
And what unit were you with on that day?
Homicide.
Did you become involved in a case involving an individual by the name of Miranda?
Yes,
Can you tell the jury how you became involved in that case?
I assisted two other investigators by the name of Mark Waits and Ruben Revelos, and they needed help in translating some of their interview.
Now, do you see the individual Marco Moreno Vasquez in the courtroom today?
I do.
Can you please point to him and identify him by an article for you?
He's gonna be sitting at that table wearing a blue shirt, long sleeve.
Now, on February 23rd of 2023, did you obtain a statement from the defendant?
I did.
And prior to taking that statement, did you read him his rights in compliance with 3822 of the Texas Penal Code?
Yes,
And did he acknowledge that he understood his rights?
yes,
Did he agree to speak with you on that day?
yes.
Now I'm gonna show you what has been marked as exhibit 217. And just so the jury is aware, do you speak Spanish?
I do.
Okay, and so in your involvement in this case in assisting conducting those interviews, did you act as a translator between the detective Waits and detective Arevelos and the defendant?
I did.
And so have you had an opportunity to review State's Exhibit 217 prior to taking the stand today?
Yes,
Okay, and does that appear to be a certified translation of the interview that you conducted?
yes,
Okay, and so at this time, the state offers State's Exhibit 217 in compliance with prior notice from the court.
Judge, no objection other than the previous objections that were heard.
All right, State's Exhibit 217 will be admitted.
the time that you conducted the interview with the defendant, I'm gonna show you State's Exhibits 218 through 225 inclusive. Can you take a look at those for me? Do you recognize what is depicted in State's Exhibits 218 through 225?
Yes,
And do they appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the defendant as you observed him at the time that you took the interview?
yes,
At this time, the state offers Exhibits 218 through 225 inclusive and tendering the same to defense for inspection.
May we approach, Judge?
Yes.
publish your
Granted.
Detective Arias or Sergeant Arias, can you see that up there?
I can.
And I'm displaying what is State Exhibits 219. Does that appear to be a fair and accurate depiction of the defendant as you observed him at the time that you took statement?
Yes.
And again, in Exhibit 218, did that appear to be the defendant in this case, Marco Moreno Bobcat?
Yes.
And regarding State Exhibit 23, does that appear to be a tattoo on the left arm of the defendant that says Chanel?
Yes.
Now, Detective, I'm gonna ask you to come take a seat. Next, please. Yeah, if it was time, Judge, I would ask for permission to publish State Exhibit 217.
All right, and defense, your previous objections are noted.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, and you are allowed to publish 217.
So on page 1 of this certified transcription of the interview that you conducted, you see there's B1, B2, and B3. Have you been able to determine which voice you are in this in State Exhibit 217?
Yes.
And which one would that be?
I believe I was B3.
Okay. And B2, which voice is that?
That's gonna be the defendant.
Now, starting on page 2, on line 5, who would B1, do you know?
Look at the transcription, I believe that's Detective Waits.
Okay. And so what is, Detective Waits asked the defendant, what is his name? What was the defendant's response?
Mark.
And what was the last name that was provided on line 10 of page 2?
Moreno.
And on line 1 of page 3, the question was asked, what is your date of birth? And now the question was also posed, what was the defendant's address? And what was the response that was provided by the defendant on line 17 of page 3? And a question was posed to the defendant regarding his phone number, and what was the response that was provided? On line 22 of page 3, the defendant is asked what his phone number is, and then what is the response that is provided on line 24 of page 3 by the defendant?
I don't have a phone.
Okay. And then so at this point. Did you read the defendant his right in accordance with 3822 of the Texas Penal Code?
Yes,
And can you read that for the jury starting line 4? Page.
well, in a bit, we can talk more, but I have to read this to you. Is that okay?
And what was the defendant's response on line 5?
Oh, okay,
And what was your response on line 6?
okay, and just tell me if you understand, okay? The words, just tell me if you understand that I'm going to have,
And then line 7?
on line 7. V2 says problems,
And you choose the defendant, is that correct?
yes,
And then what is the response on line 8 of page 5?
yes, problems, with that pronunciation. Translators know by compass, here he means to say pronunciation,
Okay, and then here, what is that?
so you have the right to remain silent, do you understand that?
And what is the response by the defendant?
Yes.
And then on line 12, what did you read to the defendant?
Anything you say can and will be used against you in court, you understand?
And then on page 6, what was the defendant's response on line 1?
Yes.
And on line 2, what did you continue reading the defendant?
You have the right to speak with an attorney and have him or her present with you when you are questioned, you understand? If you do not have the financial ability to find an attorney, one will be assigned to you to represent you before any interrogation.
And what was the defendant's response to that?
Interrogation,
And what was your response on line 4, page 6?
yes, do you understand?
And what was the defendant's response on line 5?
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you continue in line 6 of page 6?
Also, you may also set aside your right to remain silent and your right to request an attorney and may proceed to answer any questions or make any comments you wish. If you want to answer the questions, you can stop, and at any time you want and claim your right to request a lawyer. You understand?
And what was the defendant's response in line 7 of page 6?
Mm-hmm.
And in line 8, what was your response?
Do you understand what I just said to you?
And what was the defendant's response on line 9 of page 6?
Mm-hmm.
And what did you respond to him on line 10 of page 6?
Okay, so those are all your rights. Now, do you want to talk to us? Yes.
And on line 11 of page 6, what was the defendant's response?
Well, about what? Because I don't,
Okay, and then on page 7, on V1, what was your response?
okay, can we talk?
And what was his response on line 2?
Well, yes.
And so on line 4 of page 7, you ask him what kind of car does he drive? On line 1 of, or line 4 of page 7, it appears that Detective Waits asked you to ask the defendant what kind of car does the defendant drive, is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, and did you ask him on line 7? Did you ask him what kind of car does he have? Does he have a truck or does he have a pickup truck?
yes.
Okay, and then in line 8 of page 7, what was the defendant's response?
I don't have anything myself.
And so what was your response on line 9?
So how, if you go home, how do you go?
And what was the defendant's response in line 10?
Oh, with my lady.
And what was your response in line 11?
With your lady?
And what was the defendant's response?
Mm-hmm.
And what was your response to that?
Your lady.
And then it appears on line 14, Detective Waite tells you to ask what does she drive, is that correct?
Yes,
And did you ask the defendant that in line 15 of page 7?
yes.
And what was the defendant's response in line 16 of page 7?
A white Ram truck.
And it appears on line 18 that Detective Waite asked you to ask the defendant what was the name of the defendant's lady, is that correct?
Yes.
And what was the defendant's response when you asked him that on line 20 of page 7?
Ramona Martinez.
Okay. So then on page 8, line 9, what did you ask the defendant?
Okay, so your lady is Ramona. Ramona, what? Martinez?
And on line 10, what was the defendant's response?
Mm-hmm.
And then you follow up on line 11 by asking them what?
Okay, is she your wife? Or is she just,
And what was the defendant's response?
no, she's my wife.
And jumping down to line 18, it appears that Detective Waite asked the defendant if he had any kids, and what was the defendant's response?
3.
And Detective Waite in line 20 of page 8 states 3 ? They live with you ? And what was the defendant's response?
Yes.
And on line 22, Detective Waite asked if that would be on Kimberly. And on line 1 of page 9, what was the defendant?
Yes.
Line 2 of page 9, Detective Waite asked, they live there, how old are they? And then what was the response provided by the defendant on line 5 of page 9?
13, 12, and 4.
Skip to page 11. And so then you continue to ask about the white truck, so picking up on page 5, or line 5 of page 11, excuse me, you said your wife, heard what, a white truck, and what was the defendant's response?
Mm-hmm.
And then in line 9 of page 11, you ask the truck that is in the house, whose is that? And what was the defendant's response in line 10 of page 11?
I don't know.
And then what was Detective Waite's response on line 11 of page 11?
You don't know whose it is?
And what was the defendant's response?
No.
And on line 13 of page 11, it appears that you asked the question, what did you ask?
You know what color it is? You know what color is it? What is it?
And Detective Waite, the light color, tan, or rolled cure. And then you asked about the Tahoe. And what was Detective Wade's response?
No, well, that was, yes,
Right. And then on line 17 of page 11, what did you say?
okay, so this is a pickup truck, a Tahoe. Do you know what a Tahoe is?
And what was the defendant? And then picking up on page 12, line 1, are you asking the defendant if he knows? We'll skip to line 3. Did you ask the defendant if he knows the Chevy brand?
Yes,
And then what was the defendant's response?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay, and so picking up on line 7 of page 12, what did you ask the defendant?
There is a truck there in your, outside your house. Whose is that?
And what was the defendant's response in line 8?
I don't know. That's what I'm telling you. If I knew, I would tell you.
What was your response in line 9?
When did that truck get there?
And on 10 of page 12, what is said here by the defendant?
I don't know. It's just that they are a pal. The pal had many friends and he just took the ones from Honduras.
And then what was your response in line 11 of page
But when is the first time that truck arrived there?
12? And what was the defendant's response?
Oh, I don't know.
On line 13, the question that you posed is, or when did you see it there for the first time? And then it appears that you do the translation. He says on the other truck, his friend of him, he has a lot of friends from Honduras. Is that correct?
Yes,
And then it appears that the photos that we've seen were taken. Is that correct? In line 1 through 8.
yes.
So then on page 14, line 12, I'll go ahead and read what you said. You said, so he said that the truck, he doesn't know whose it is. His friend has friends from Honduras, they come and go. And then Detective Waite says, who is his friend? And then how did you translate that to the defendant in line 14 of page 12?
And your pal, who is it?
And what was the defendant's response on line 15 of page 14?
No, well, I've only known him for a little while, but he has quite a few friends.
And then your response was, the other one that is here. Were you referring to Ortiz?
Yes,
Okay, was he in the substation or headquarters at the same time that the defendant was?
he was.
And page 15 on line V3, you posed the question, and what's his name? What was the defendant's response?
Who?
And question by you is your friend. What was the defendant's response?
I don't know. I don't know.
And at this point, you appear to say I or and then what was the defendant's response to that?
No, I don't. No, I don't. I don't know what his name is. Seriously.
And you questioned him saying no. And what was the defendant's response?
No, because he never showed me an identification.
And then Detective Waite states he doesn't know his friend's name, and your response is no. And then you ask the defendant, Marco, what do you call him? like. And then what was the response that was provided then on line 13, page 15?
Adis,
And then you say what? What was the defendant's response?
Adis,
And then you clarify saying Adis question mark. And then determine weights questions Adis. Then on page 16. Line 1, you ask, does he live there with you? What was the defendant's response to that?
no, he lived somewhere else in San Antonio.
You ask, does he live in San Antonio? Do you know where in San Antonio? What was the defendant's response?
No,
And then you question no, and what was the defendant's response?
no, he was just going. He was going to help me. Work, that's it.
On line 8 of page 16, you state, didn't you tell the officers that he rents a room there with you in the house? What was the defendant's response to that?
No, sometimes he would go and stay, but never. He would stay in San Antonio with his uncle, or I don't know with whom.
And on line 10, you say, so sometimes he did stay there. What was the defendant's response?
Yes, since he helped me with work sometimes.
Then I'm gonna jump down to line 14 and you ask the question, how many days was he there this week? What was the defendant's response?
Just today,
Then you ask just today question mark and what was the defendant's response?
yes,
And you ask, okay, so he didn't stay last night, what was the defendant's response?
no,
And then you ask or during the week, and what was the defendant's response?
no, neither,
You asked if he stayed there this month, and what was the defendant's response?
neither,
And then, line 11 of page 17, what did the defendant tell you?
it's just that we were going to go to work and he brought me a drill to go to work, that's all.
And then in line 13 of page 17, you asked the defendant, so Adis, does he use the truck? And what was the defendant's response?
No, as far as I know, no,
And then you clarify, well, the pickup truck, and what was the defendant's response?
not that I know of.
And then, in line 18. Or backing up, in line 17, you say no, okay, what was the defendant's response to that?
His uncle would take him, I think.
So then on line 1 of page 18, Detective Waits states, no, the Chevy, the SUV, who drives that, and what was the defendant's response to that?
I don't know, the truck was just there, I don't know.
Then you relate to Detective Waits, he says he doesn't know, the truck's is just there. Detective Waits asks the question, okay, does Ramona drive it, and what was the defendant's response?
No,
And you clarify, Ramona doesn't use it, what was the defendant's response?
no, she has her truck in her name, the Dodge.
And then you say, okay, and the defendant states that's correct, is that correct?
Yes,
Then in line 10, you ask, do you have keys for that Tahoe? And what was the defendant's response in line 11?
I couldn't tell you, no,
And then you ask the Tahoe. It's a Tahoe, right? Are you asking that to Detective Wade? Clarifying about the vehicle.
yes,
And then in line 17 of page 18, what is the defendant's state?
She had her truck, that's all.
And then on line 19 of page 18, you state, did you ever, do you know, did you get into the truck, sit in it, touch it, ever, question mark? And what was the defendant's response on line 1 of page 19?
No, well, we were out there, but I was never looking there or anything.
And then you asked, okay, but you never touched it? What was the defendant's response?
No, as far as I know, I was never there snooping on anything.
And then on line 9 of page 19, what did the defendant act?
Or unless that the children there or something, they have no reason to be to do.
And then so you asked the clarifying question, you never went in, and what was the defendant's response?
No, not me. It's not my business to be looking at things that I don't.
And you didn't ask whose it was, what was the defendant's response?
No,
And you questioned no. And then on page 20, line 1, what was the defendant's?
no, because why would I want to? Not me. It's not my business, right?
And then you clarified here on line 3 of page 20, and you know what Chevy we're talking about, right? What was the defendant's response?
Well, they say that the one that is at the house, I don't know what's going on.
Then, on line 7 of page 20, you asked, aren't there other trucks or pickups there? And what was the defendant's response?
No, those are the neighbors.
And then you asked the defendant, doesn't anyone else live there in the house? Just you, your wife, the children, and this Audis, that could stay there today, right? And what did the defendant say?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now during the duration of this interview, did you and Detective Waits show the defendant, photos that were collected during the course of the investigation?
Yes,
And what, do you recall what type of photos you all showed the defendant?
I believe we showed them some still shots of some surveillance video or security video.
And was that the surveillance or security video that was seized from the location of the murder?
Yes,
And did those photos include photos of the defendant and Audis there on the murder location?
yes,
When you asked the defendant, well, on the published page 22, starting on line 20, or we'll back up to line 17. Okay, and we'll back up to line 12. You state, okay, now I'm going to show you other photos, okay? What is the defendant's response?
uh-huh,
And you reply, and just tell the truth. And then you relate to Detective Waits, I'm telling him I'm gonna show other photos that you're just gonna say the truth. And then Detective Waits says, and then you say, okay. But if Detective Waits asks, who is that? And what was the defendant's response?
no, well, I don't know,